The German Christian martyr Dietrich Bonhoeffer is one of the most compelling spiritual voices of the last century. The pacifist pastor and theologian who joined plots to kill Adolf Hitler wrote that his resistance movement against Hitler had for once learned to see the great events of world history from below, from the perspective of the outcast, the suspect, the maltreated, the powerless, the oppressed, the reviled. In short, from the perspective of those who suffer. Today we invite you to join us for a special edition of Sanctuary on keeping faith with film, with scenes from the documentary film Bonhoeffer, a prophetic message for our times that will challenge what you think about your politics and your faith. We begin first with filmmaker Martin Doblmeier.
Bonhoeffer is one of those thinkers who says that it's by living in this world that we learn to have faith. The responsibility of the Christian who's living in this world is the person who understands that it's the responsibility of they who understand the Gospels as a message to transform the world, to go out and make change, not simply to pray about the world, but also both prayerful action is what's being called for. Being Christian meant not being inactive, not simply praying for the destruction and the end of Germany, but to do something to stop this anger and this rage and hatred. Eberhard says in the interview that in your name are people being killed and killed and killed. And I think this was what finally got to Bonhoeffer, the realization that this had to be stopped. Some way, somebody had to stand up and do something about this. And he could not live with himself if he didn't do that, if he didn't step up and respond to how he felt God was calling him to do it, to step up, even if it meant becoming part of the plots to kill Hitler. It's said, too, that Bonhoeffer came to the United States as a master in theology, but he left as a Christian. And I think what he saw in the United States that he brought back to Germany with him was the understanding that the responsibility is incumbent in being church to speak out on behalf of the oppression of the blacks. It's said, too, that Bonhoeffer came to the United States as a master in theology, but he left as a Christian. And I think what he saw in the United States that he brought back to Germany with him was the understanding that the responsibility is in...
This is perhaps the most important letter to me, which he wrote on the 21st of July, the day after the plot had failed, 44. I discovered later, and I'm still discovering right up to this moment, that is it only by living completely in this world that one learns to have faith. By this worldliness, I mean living unreservedly in life's duties, problems, successes, and failures. In so doing, we throw ourselves completely into the arms of God, taking seriously not our own sufferings, but those of God in the world. That, I think, is faith.